name is Stuart, I'm from Nomad. I'm going to be talking about my journey from Bolton to London and all the places that I've worked, what it takes to succeed in the design industry, and a bit of advice at the end maybe. Well, Glug's brilliant for a number of reasons. If you're a student, you get to hear these great talks, but really getting access to people who could give you a job. So you just need to be brave enough to go up to them at the end and say, I really like this project you did, can I come and see you? Thanks, Nick. Okay, so thanks to all the brilliant speakers tonight. Thanks to Glug for the grave shift yet again. Thanks for sticking around. So, the right way. The question that everyone's been answering. It's funny because we've had different speakers tonight doing lots of different things, but lots of similar issues coming up. The old guys being too old and not understanding you guys. But really, the answer to the question is, there's nothing that I would have told myself I would have wanted to know if I could go back and have that conversation. The reason for that is, that we've all discovered tonight is, you're not born a genius or brilliant or even good. It's hard work, determination, and grit that gets you to where you want to be. And if someone told me that it would be easy, or I was going to make it, or it'd be fun, I wouldn't be here today because, and who would have wanted to know that my boyish good looks would be ravished by time. But yeah, like we said before, the world was completely different when we were graduating. The Nokia 6110 was one of the most technologically advanced piece of equipment on the planet, and it was amazing. But the point is that you already have everything you need to be able to succeed. The fear inside you right now will drive you to do things you never thought possible. The passion for what you do and the belief in yourself, that's what's going to make your dream come true, whatever that is. So I'm not really into offering advice, because who am I to tell you guys what to do? You're way smarter. But a few things that have helped me along the way, I guess. The first one is staying curious. I've got little kids now. This is, I don't know if you're watching Planet Earth, but there's that scene when the snakes chase the lizards. And my son drew that in about 2 minutes at the weekend. I thought, wow, that is amazing. You know, the way they see the world is so much more different than the way we see it. So I urge you all to stay curious and to go to galleries and to, fill your brains full of amazing things. I used to make my own sketchbooks when I was younger. You grow out of all of this, unfortunately, when you get older, when you get kids and stuff. But I made sketchbooks and I kept them with me wherever I went, and I filled them full of everything from tickets to art galleries or ideas that I had, and you just carry them around with you. But really, this image, it tells you everything you need to know about me, about the lens that I would go to succeed in design. You can see from my mum and dad's house that design is not something that I was surrounded by or came naturally to me. You can see by the 8-foot watch that, I don't really know what I was doing. I actually made a full-size woman in a bath. I made Tutankhamun. I kind of did everything, and I took this to my interview at a BTEC art school in Wigan, and I went with my dad. I think I wore a suit as well, and I was carrying this watch, and everyone's really cool and wearing black and listening to thrash metal, and you could just hear these guys going, "Oh mate, what time is it?" And it was heartbreaking, to be honest, but that was what I was prepared to do. I was just so into being a designer. I didn't really know what it meant, but I knew that it was for me. So I graduated from Nottingham-Trent in 2000, and I decided, we were like the time of the internet, so the internet was being born, and the teacher was going, you should be digital, you should be doing web design, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I decided to stay abroad. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I thought, don't get pigeonholed. And a lot of people in my course who went into specific things you end up staying in those specific things your whole life. So if you take your first job in a packaging company that feels really exciting, you'll probably be doing packaging until the day you die. So the idea is follow your passion, and if you don't know, don't commit. Gap years in Bolton didn't really exist, so that was quite easy. I thought I would turn that down and throw myself into work, and I'd do that in the future. It never happened, but maybe one day. So I won £300 in the last project I did at university for a printing company, and the printing company was in Nottingham, and they offered me a job of like £11,000 a year, and my mum and dad said, you know, you should take it, it's a job, you know, it's going to be great, and I just couldn't imagine anything worse. So I think the other thing is, you know, you always take the hard over easy. It's a very stressful time getting from now into work, and it's something that you have to just keep believing in yourself every day. So I decided that I would take the £300 and move to London, and in those days you could stay in halls of residences and for £20 a night in Hackney when Hackney wasn't cool, and eating Lidl when Lidl wasn't cool, and you got this fried breakfast included in the price of the night stay. So basically lived off really bad food. Then about a few weeks later, this was before New Blood, so New Designers was the big place to show your work to London companies, and I was lucky enough to be in the top 10 of the people chosen to submit work. So we heard one day that Wolf Ollins had come around and had been looking at some work, and they'd seen a bit of stuff that they're really excited about, but they didn't know who it was, who did it. So that's me, and that's my best friend, Stuart. And they saw some work by Stuart. They didn't know which one it was. So they asked us both to come in for an interview. And it was really heartbreaking. Stuart was my best friend in the world. We did everything together. We lived together, we worked together, but we knew there was only going to be one job. And I ended up getting the job, and that was kind of the big breakthrough in a way. And I had £20 left of my £300, so I got a train ticket back to Bolton, and I waited for the job to start. And I was really excited, but then realised that I didn't know what corporate identity was, I didn't know what branding was, and I was in this weird space of really professional people doing really professional things, and what was I going to say? Yeah, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified, and I was actually the first graduate that Wolf Ollins had ever employed, and it showed, because they didn't know what to do with me. So I sat in a corner for about 3 months, and I had no work to do whatsoever. But they had this amazing restaurant, and I used to email my dad the menu every day. There was kangaroo and shark and alligator and stuff. So that was really exciting. But the real breakthrough was, you know, as a graduate, nothing is expected of you, absolutely nothing. So the Getty Image didn't actually exist as a website, it was a book. And the first job I got was scanning images from Getty Images and then photoshopping out the crease in the middle of the book. And this guy was like, okay, you can work with this. And I'm slowly starting to understand what branding is and stuff like that. But what really changed everything was this job for Tate that I'd seen. Before then, corporate identity was really corporate. It was logo in the bottom right. It was, you know, really dull. And this idea that a brand could live and breathe and move and do stuff was really exciting to me. And this was actually done by a junior designer at Wolf Ollins at the time, Marina Willer. So it just shows that, you know, that there's no age limit on talent or creativity or position. You know, you can be a creative director at 28 if you're good enough. It's a meritocracy, and there's many good things about that. And like I said, there's absolutely no pressure at all, because nothing's expected of you. So whatever you do is a bonus. So it's just about working hard. It's about earning people's trust, going that extra mile, and doing a few things that gets you noticed. And I got noticed by Marina Willer, and I ended up living in Brazil for a year doing this job for Roy. And it was great because I got to practice this idea of a living, moving brand, where logos start to play a bigger role in branding than just sitting in the bottom right, where they did. And I was digging through my old sketchbooks to put this talk together tonight, and this is the first billboard I ever did. I think I was 22 or something. And you know, it's a great moment when you start to see your work and start to see it get out there and start to create work that has a personality and can do really interesting things like take over cities, create radio stations, magazines, and all those things that go beyond the standard branding set. And I think manhole covers are great because brands come and go, but if you kind of set it in steel or iron, then it tends to stay around a lot more. So, so I ended up falling in love with Marina Willer and marrying her and having children. We've been together 15 years this week. And that was great, but you can't really work together when that happens, when you sleep with your boss. So luckily, there's a group of guys from Wolf Ollins leaving to set up V3, and they said, why don't you come along and join us? So I thought, great, I'll do that. It's a really exciting adventure. But there was this one moment that kept haunting me the whole time, and this guy's called Robbie Lawton, and he was the guy who found me at New Designers and gave me that chance. And how did I repay him? Well, every Friday when I went to the pub, I got really drunk and I told him how grateful I was and thank you and thank you. And his advice stuck with me that whole time was stop saying thanks and pay it back. When you're in a position to do the same thing for someone else, then you do it. So I really embraced that idea, and you know, I'm going to show some work in a minute, but the idea that, you know, work comes and goes and it gets old and it gets tired or it gets ruined, but this idea that you have an opportunity to give people a chance or to take a punt on them. And I was just thinking of the people, I think a few are here today as well, but the people who you think, yeah, that's a good person, he's got a good attitude, I can make that work. And that's the thing that really sticks with you. You know, the work comes and goes, but your influence and your spirit is the thing that stands out. So V3 was great. We did some good work. We did Little Chef with Heston. I worked with the Times for about 5 years, doing everything from ad campaigns, TV ads, newspaper design. Sky was the big one. You know, we were a really hungry startup company. We got this tiny job for Sky to do a 30 grand piece of work for Sky Plus, and we turned that into a relationship that's still going today, 15 years later, doing everything from high definition to all of the sports brands and channels. And really my love of sport and what I do as a living started to cross over here, and I thought that was really interesting and something that I'd like to do more of. There's a guy called Vince Frost who told me a while ago that the idea is in the brief, and the idea is just knowing how to find it. So you guys have got to find a way in terms of reading a brief and finding the ideas within it. I thought one good example of this was King, and this was a tough job. We did 10, 15 routes before we cracked it, and the real thing was we were used to doing these big brands and big expansive systems, and when digital came along, they're like, it just has to work that big on an app icon, and it was kind of a hard thing to get your head around. But you know, this idea of the king and the crown, and then using the crown as a way to galvanise all of the different assets, I thought was really interesting. But that was 11 years I spent at V3, and it was one of the most amazing times of my life. But again, this idea of not taking the easy option or being comfortable. So I decided that I needed to learn more about digital and understand that world a bit more. So I joined Moving Brands, which are, you know, the go-to place for digital brands. And it was a really interesting time. The first project we did was this job in India for a crazy company called Housing, where the the CEO was like 23 years old, and they had loads of money and loads of crazy ideas. And we created this brand which is all around optimism and joy and looking up. And in a world of, you know, housing images and things like that that aren't very interesting, we created this really luscious world of visuals, and something so simple that everyone can kind of understand and get their heads around and get involved in socially. So that was really great. The other great thing about working in India, there's loads of people. So I think one of my ambitions was always to get like a big hit on something, whether it be, like Anthony said, on Instagram or YouTube. So we did this making of film, and we got 4.5 million hits. I'll play it now. So I had a great time at Moving Brands. It's a really hard place to work. They work you hard. It's very mentally challenging, and they have these kind of these standards that are so high, and a process that is so, should we say, trying to think of a good word, one-dimensional. And it just didn't fit my style in a way, and I was on this journey to find a home and to find a place that really worked for me and allowed my kind of more free-flowing style to work. So I was invited to join a design studio as executive creative director about a year ago, and I thought, great, you know, these guys have just won Airbnb, and I want to work on the biggest brands, and if they can win that, imagine what we could win together. And it was great. We hit the ground running, and we went on this incredible pitch winning spree. I think we won 11 pitches in a row, Deliveroo, Lend Invest, Treat Well, and then we landed the big one, which was Premier League. So they called up one day and said, we'd like to talk to you about a rebrand. Can you come and help us and do a pitch? So we did the pitch, and we won it, and we worked really hard for about a month, and we delivered the work. And then you kind of get that feeling that it's not going to be like a normal launch of a project. It's the Premier League. So we preempted the idea of chopping the lion's head off with some social stuff. And, you know, there was a kind of a big outcry, especially from the Daily Mail and people like that. There's lots of horrible tweets, but you know, the dust has settled, and it feels like it's the right job for the client. And the idea was to take a very static, one-dimensional corporate sports rights holder and turn them into an exciting sports brand, something that's got lots of stretch and flex, something that can talk to different audiences in different ways. The scariest bit was I had to do the artwork for the trophy, which is technically priceless. I had to go to this really fine jewellers on Bond Street, and you go down into the basement and they search you, and they get the trophy out, and I had this bunch of cutouts of photocopied logos to try and get the right size for it, and that's how we kind of got the artwork signed off for the trophy. And then we worked with loads of great agencies doing every touch point, from the web stuff, websites, apps, all the match day furniture, the trophy, the ribbons, stuff like that. And then you get to the point of, well, what do I do now? I've always wanted to work on the biggest jobs. There isn't going to be a bigger job than the Premier League, so maybe it's time to rethink again. And I've got a full house of job titles. So the natural next step was to quit my job and then to realise that not only am I unemployed, but I'm actually unemployable. And I think one thing is the fire and the drive that gets you to where you want to be. And the next thing is being in control of your own destiny and doing what you really want to do, a lot like the guys have spoken about tonight. And I was really excited about this idea that I'm completely unemployable. I, like Anthony, have a huge issue with authority figures. As you can see by my track record, I move jobs quite quickly, and I thought that's great, you know. And whilst I know more than anyone that the world doesn't need another brand agency, I kind of didn't have another choice. I decided that I never want to work for anyone ever again, and that feels great. You know, 37 years old, I will never be employed by anyone. I'd rather live in a tent, hence Nomad. So about 4 months ago we started Nomad, and we're now 5 people, and they're all brilliant and I love them. A few are here tonight, and we're just trying to do things in a different way completely. So we are fighting against the bloated brand agencies. We're doing work that's quick, fast and good. We're working with a really interesting couple of guys called Denzel and Saul. Denzel set up iTunes and Apple Music for Apple. This is a disruptive music platform called Platoon that we're working on. And we're working with Eurosport on a couple of projects as well, a studio brand called Eurosport Digital Originals. And we are creative directors of a TV show called The Five with Colin Murray. So we do everything from the branding to the on-screen presentation, set design, all those kind of things, and helping with the tone of the show as well. There's a little film. So we've got this idea of kind of high impact, low risk, where we bring ideas to life really quickly and have this real relationship with clients where no one gets in between. So the clients speak directly to us, and we work in a what we think is a kind of a new way. And then just to finish, I thought of a few things that have helped me on my journey. This idea that design is full of egos, and it's just not that important what we do. So just get over it. Don't have an ego. Do your research. If you don't just look at the agencies you like, look at the designers who are doing it as well. So if you like a piece of work, find out who did it and write them a letter like Robert did. This is an email that our intern at the moment sent to us, and I thought it was brilliant because he wrote down all the things, all the projects that I've done and why he liked them. And I just thought the dedication to that was incredible. And that is the kind of thing that's going to get you an interview, is going to get you a chance. Like, who doesn't want to see somebody who's gone to that length to get through the door? I think what your ass off, I think that's a theme that's come up tonight. You know, it is all about how much you want this, because there's thousands and thousands of people graduating every year for hundreds of jobs. You just got to want it so much more than everyone else. The world doesn't get changed between 9 and 5. So if you go back to the Tate job that Marina did, she was working 20 hours days, 5 days a week, whilst no one believed in her, no one wanted her to win. You know, you just have to fight to make that work. Follow your heart, not the money. The money will follow. The money is a byproduct of doing what you love. Be nice and build your network, both socially and physically tonight, and find the people that you like, follow them, get to know them, and then talk to them. Don't copy, you'll get caught. I always thought that Peter Saville was a great inspiration for that, in the sense that he looks for his inspiration in completely different places, and that's what made his work really unique and iconic. We tend to use the same blogs, and you know, a lot of the work starts to look similar. You don't have to go that far to find inspiration that no one else is using. Don't stop. Hopefully the fire's burning inside you and it's going to get you to where you want to be, but you have to stay curious. You have to keep yourself interested. You have to keep looking at things in different ways. And for me, my inspiration now is through my kids' eyes and my family, the way they see the world, the way they look at things, the way they write, you know, is a constant inspiration. So find yours and cherish it. And we have, we're looking for an intern, so we've got 5 badges to give away. If you come up to us after, come and talk to us and we can see about getting you in. Give us a follow. Thank you.